into his kitchen.
This is Fox 13 News at 9.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Hope Woodside.
And I'm Bob Evans. A Bear River High School bus driver is dead tonight after a crash on I-15. The bus was carrying Bear River basketball players and was headed south on I-15 near the far west exit when it rear-ended a semi-truck and skidded off the road. Fox 13's Lane Lyon joins us from News Control tonight. There were a lot of kids on this bus, Lane. Were there a lot of injuries?
Well, you know what? There were a lot of kids on board. No injuries, though. That's the interesting thing, at least from the passengers. Nearly 50 passengers on board, all escaping injury tonight. Obviously, a lot of sadness, though, for the driver and her family. 50-year-old Janelle Stevens is described by students as just like family. For Bear River High students, it was a difficult game to play. On the court, most of the players had yet to learn the news many on the sidelines were hearing for the first time.
It's one of those times when you really don't have words to say. The only thing is that I know that she did everything she could under the circumstances.
Janelle Stevens was driving the sophomore and JV basketball teams to Ogden when the accident happened.
The left lane was shut down because there was a semi in the median.
Those on scene say another semi loaded with trusses was stopped in front of the bus. Stevens swerved and went off the road.
And in the process, she clipped the rear portion of the trailer.
I grabbed the seat and put my head down, you know, like on airplanes.
From the air, it's visible just how the bus narrowly missed nearby trees, which likely kept the accident from being worse. All 50 students and staff were amazingly unhurt. Stevens was not so lucky. She died shortly after arriving at the hospital in Ogden.
She was responsible for saving these kids because it could have been a lot worse.
While playing is painfully difficult, each team member pulls together for the one fan they already miss in the stands.
We've just found out there's a lot more important things than basketball.
We should mention that parents and players from Ogden High School expressed their sympathies to their opposing team tonight. We know a little bit more about the bus driver this evening. We can tell you that she was often a substitute school teacher at the school. That's why so many of the students know her. She is survived by a husband. She has 10 children. We understand one of them was on board the bus at the time of this accident.
This really is a sad story, Lane. Now, didn't the Weber School District help out a little bit tonight, too?
Well, that is another interesting part of this story. You're exactly right. Apparently, right as this happened, an empty Weber District bus just happened to be going by, saw all of this. That driver picked up the team and coaches and took them to their game in Ogden tonight.
All right, Lane, thank you.
Oh, just tragic.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting to know what the weather was like during that fatal accident.
Fox 13 meteorologist Jody.
She was a hero last night, but really, she was a hero to all who knew her.
I just don't think that I'm ever gonna forget that. The way that I saw my mom on the bus after the accident.
13-year-old Brittany was on the bus yesterday to keep her mom company.
I guess when I was on the bus, I didn't get the best side of my mom, but I saw her for one last time, and it was really hard.
Jeannie Stevens leaves behind 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls, a loving husband, and 4 grandchildren.
She's truly the sunflower and the sunbeam in so many people's lives, especially mine.
But the grief of losing Jeannie Stevens reaches far beyond her own family.
She'll be greatly missed, and you'll never replace a person that's a pillar in a community like she was.
The kids all loved her, respected her.
She spent hours behind the wheel of school buses. She loved sports, and she loved taking her students to their sporting events.
She was the world's mom. She was just mom. She was mom to everybody. Everybody called her mom.
Amanda, what are you saying?
And if I were to give her a nickname, I'd call her Super Mom.
She always put everyone else first.
She was always smiling. There was never a time that I didn't see her smile.
Jeannie loved life to its fullest.
She saved my life and the whole basketball team's life. She saved many lives, and I'm very proud of her.
Even after her death, Jeannie Stevens is still giving. She's an organ donor.
She would have turned 50 this Sunday.
What an impressive woman. And it seems like her family is holding up remarkably well, considering.
Well, you know, they say that they believe it was just her time. They also believe she knew her destiny. In the last year, she had planned her own funeral, which, by the way, will more than likely be standing room only. It's amazing. No one can talk about this woman without getting a tear in their eye. She really touched a lot of lives.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you so much. Services will be held Monday at 10 a.m. at the Garland Tabernacle.
Well, that cold front last night dropped temperatures into kids, and they share her story.
And mother of 10 tonight after a school bus accident took her life yesterday. Janelle Stevens died while driving Bear River High School's basketball team to Ogden. Her bus struck a metal truss on the back of a semi on I-15. As Amy Troy tells us, tonight her family and friends are remembering the supermom whose giving spirit brightened so many lives.
Frank and Janelle Stevens shared more than a 27-year marriage and a family of 10 children. The Garland couple were also dedicated educators.
She brings them to school in the bus, and I teach them, and she takes them home.
But all of that changed when icy conditions caused Stevens' bus to strike a metal truss on I-15, crashing through the windshield, knocking the 49-year-old driver unconscious with massive head injuries. Her bus ran off the highway between two large trees before crashing into the bleachers at a far west park. Frank Stevens says he will miss his wife's love for life and is thankful that 50 passengers survived the impact.
Sacrifice was her middle name for her family and for her friends.
The couple's 13-year-old daughter was sitting 3 rows behind Janelle when the bus accident happened. Once they heard the news about Janelle's condition, Brittany says the basketball team rallied through their tears.
They just had a rough time, but my guess is that they dedicated the game to my mom, so they won.
Brittany says her mother was the best driver she ever knew. She'll never forget her giving spirit or her homemade breadsticks.
I'm really proud of my mom. She was a hero. She did everything she could to save that bus, including me.
And her oldest son says he'll always remember the warmth of his mother's hugs.
She wanted you to know when she gave you a hug, her love was coming right out of her body into yours.
Amy Troy, News 4 Utah.
This Sunday would have been Janelle Stevens' 50th birthday.
A Draper man.
Tonight, 49-year-old Janelle Stevens was killed yesterday in a traffic accident. Stevens was driving the Bear River High School basketball team to a tournament in Ogden. She tried changing lanes to avoid hitting a semi-truck on southbound I-15. Stevens' daughter was sitting 3 rows behind her when that crash happened. Brittany Stevens says her mother would be relieved to know that the 50 passengers survived the crash and went on to win the game.
She was the best driver I've ever met or seen. She always cared about other people before herself.
Stevens' oldest son says his mother's hugs will be missed at home and throughout the community for a long time.
She wanted you to know when she gave you a hug, her love was coming right out of her body into yours.
Funeral services for Janelle Stevens will be held Monday at 10 in the morning in Garland.
Thanks for joining us, Mike.